Hello everybody, this is Graeme Anderson, and today I'm going to be looking at Welkin. In this game, you are a celestial builder on habitable lands that float up in the sky. You need to be collecting materials to build homes for the residents of this land. And of course, they want the most beautiful homes ever. If you can collect the right materials and can manipulate the market to your advantage, you become the wealthiest builder and win the game. Now this is a game what I would classify as a family weight game. You'll be collecting which contracts you want to fulfill and managing your resource collection. You can collect more resources, but at the price of collecting fewer different kinds of resources. And when you fulfill a contract, you're going to be earning points based on the market rate of the materials that you use to build the contract. Now this may sound a little complicated, but it's really not. So let's get it to the table, see how it's played, then we'll come back for my final thoughts on Welkin. Here is Welkin all set up. The board is made up of 5 sections, and you'll place the bid tokens randomly on the appropriate spaces. Each token will show you what resource is on the other side. Shuffle the cards and make a draw pile depending on the number of players, so 20 cards for a 2-player game and 24 cards for either 3 or 4 players. Deal 5 cards around the central board and place the construction tokens and money off to one side. Give each player a player board and one of each of the procurement tokens placed on the matching spots on their board. The goal of the game is to have the most money at the end of the game. This is done by constructing different buildings using the different construction materials. The money you will gain from completing a contract will depend on the bid markers in each area. The game is played until the draw pile is empty, and when the next player needs to draw a card to refill the center board, that player finishes their turn, then everyone takes one last turn. So, on a player's turn, they will do one action. The actions to pick from are open a construction site, procure construction materials, or use their construction materials. To open a construction site, you will take one of the available contracts from the center board. It does not matter from where, just as long as you have one of your own slots free on your player board. If you already have 2 contracts, you cannot take any more. When you take a contract, replace it with the top card of the draw deck. If the just drawn card has a flip symbol on the card in the top left, and you'll only be looking at the top left when you draw a card, you'll flip a bid token on the board to its opposite side and move it to its new material area. You will pick which bid token you want to flip. If you take the procure construction materials, you must first turn over one of your procurement tokens. If you wish to flip more tokens, each additional token you want to flip will cost you 1 gold. You have to flip 1 token, which is always free, but you can flip as many as you want as long as you can pay for the additional ones. You can even flip one over and then pay to flip the same one back. Once you have flipped at least 1 procurement token, you will then take the number of +1 symbols shown construction materials. So in this situation, you can take 3 construction materials, but they can only be metal and rock. You can take any combination, but only from the one showing. You place the materials on your board, but you can only store a maximum of 4 construction materials on your board. If after this action you have more, discard down to 4. The last action you can choose from on your turn is to use the construction materials you have on your player mat. You will move as many of your construction material tokens from your player board to empty spaces on your contracts, as long as the materials match. If you complete a contract, it will be automatically sold. Each token on the completed contract is worth an amount of money equal to the number of bid tokens of that material type on the main board. Take the money from the supply and put the completed contract beside your player board face up, and all the used construction material goes back to the supply. Those are the 3 actions each player will pick from. But when you have completed contracts, you have optional additional free one-time actions you can use during your turn. Many of the contracts will have a symbol on the top right of the card. When it is complete and face up, you can use that special ability anytime during your turn, before or after your main action. When you've taken the special action from the card, turn the card face down as it cannot be used again for the rest of the game. When a player performs the first action of taking the construction contract and cannot refill the spot on the center board because the draw pile is empty, that player will finish their turn, then each other player will take one final turn and the game ends. Players will then count up their money, and the person with the most money wins the game. So that's how you play. Let's get back to see what I thought about Welkin. So let's talk about theme and components. The theme, honestly, is just not there. I mean, there's nothing in the game that really feels overly thematic. That's not to say the theme is bad, it just doesn't really come through with the actions you're doing. You could be building just about anything, collecting ingredients for potions, or building train routes, or building zoos, just about anything. But the components, wow, are they beautiful. I mean, the look of this game is just going to draw people to the table by the sheer look of the game. I mean, the card art itself is just gorgeous, and the quality of these cards is, adequate. Everything from the cards to the board to the cardboard pieces are nice, large, bright pieces that are easy to read. The quality of the components is all good. The only negative I have really about the components is very minor, it's the box. The insert has a place for everything, but the card slot is a bit too small, and getting those last few cards out of the box can be a pain. I'm always worried that I'm going to bend them. The rulebook itself is nice and bright. It's easy to read with lots of examples in text and picture format. The rules are short, only 3 pages long, and there is a page of the powers of the completed buildings that will give you, all the description of what they do. All in all, top marks for the components. Now on to the gameplay. When I first played this game, I did find it a little bit of lacking, but that's more on me than it is on the game. The game is light, and still gives you some choices to be made, especially with the moving of the bid tokens to make the materials more or less valuable, and you definitely want to be watching what other people want. But once I change my mindset and try the game again, knowing that it will not be a brain burner, that I can just kind of enjoy the fun of completing my contracts, while making sure that I'm trying to maximize the market price for the materials, I ended up really enjoying this. Now, there are some decisions to be made from selecting which contract to take. Do you want to go off on your own on a material that no one else is collecting? Or do you piggyback on some work that someone else has already done and make a quick buck by using the same materials as someone else? The market manipulation is nice, but it's simple. When you take a card that has the little flip symbol on it, you move one piece over. Or you can have a special ability from one of the cards that you've completed that will allow you to manipulate 2 pieces, 2 bid tokens. Again, very simple, easy to understand. The special abilities are also nice and straightforward. Things like opening up an additional building space on your board so you can maybe work on 3 contracts for a while. Or finish a contract now to free up some space. Or to flip over 2 bid tokens, plus a few other special abilities. Again, nothing overly complex, but still powerful enough that you definitely don't want to be ignoring them. Now, my favorite part of the game is acting as collecting resources. I feel it offered the biggest decision point in the game. You have to turn one of your tokens over, and I like the fact that if you want to collect more materials, you reduce your selection of materials you're going to be taking. Being able to pay a coin for extra flips was definitely useful in some situations. Again, this is not an analysis paralysis moment in the game. You don't have to have a huge number of choices, but I just like that feel of the push and pull between quantity and the variety of materials. And it's that feeling I kind of got from the entire game. It's a nice, lighter weight game that all just works together to make an enjoyable game. It's nothing earth-shattering, and if you're looking for a deep, complex game, this is definitely not for you. I would put this on the same level as something like a Splendor. But it may even be slightly lighter than Splendor. But that does bring up some negatives of the game. It is light. There is no depth to this game. You're going to be doing the same thing every game, selecting contracts, collecting the resources, and building. You do this over and over and over again in every game. The contracts are not very varied. You'll always end up looking at the materials that you need and trying to see how quickly you can complete it for the most money. Now, there are a few times I delayed building a contract to try and manipulate the market, but it's honestly not overly volatile once the game gets going. The first round or 2 people are taking contracts, which can make the market fluctuate, but then it kind of calms down and it's more manageable. So, would I recommend this game? And it really, really depends. If you have games like Splendor in your collection and you're looking for a new game to kind of, that's the same weight that kind of fits into maybe a rotation, then I think this would fit perfectly nicely in that. If you want a game for a family or maybe introducing people to gaming, it would also fit nicely in that situation. But if you're looking for a deeper game that you can come back to and explore the different strategies or different paths to victory, you'll probably want to skip this one. And that's it for the moment. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.